Welcome back, gamers, to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host with the most, Johnny Rogers. If you happen to be new here, we put out daily content on all things gaming, so if you're down with that, then tap subscribe to see more. Plus, leave us a comment down below with what the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while playing Mario. And while you ponder that, let's dive right into today's video, the top 10 scariest Mario creepypastas. In at number 10, The Haunted Save. The following story is based on a creepypasta written by an unknown author on the Creepypasta website. The protagonist begins by saying that he was really bored by all of the video games that he had been playing lately, and just as boredom really struck him, he got a notification on his phone. It was an email with a subject line that read, "Get old bootleg SNES cartridges only in today's e-auction." Intrigued by this, he decided to order one called Bootleg Super Mario World. When he put the cartridge in to play, everything seemed normal, but the hills and clouds had a slight reddish tinge to them. The first time he hopped onto a pipe to go into the next level, Mario just began falling. He kept falling for what felt like forever, and when he finally hit the ground, Bowser was waiting for him at the bottom. Bowser then pulled out a portal gun, shooting the ceiling above him, and before the protagonist could react, hot lava began dumping onto Mario. Mario began making terrible noises, unlike anything that he had ever heard before. Safe to say, he'll never order games online ever again. The following story is based on a creepypasta also written by an unknown user and involves a terrifying encounter with the game Super Mario Legend of the Seven Stars. The strange thing was that when he picked up the cartridge, it was hot. Like really hot. The weird thing about this was he hadn't used the game in months, so he had no idea why the cartridge was so warm. Wanting to play, he just put the game in and continued. To much of his dismay, the title screen was different. Instead it said, Legend of the Seven Screams. Mario seemed upset when he began playing, but he couldn't really figure out why until he realized that Luigi was missing. Then when he opened the overworld map, he noticed something odd about Mushroom Way. It looked like it had been completely destroyed. Parts of the map were charred with the mangled bodies of enemies lying everywhere. He almost threw up at the sight of this apocalyptic scenery. Before he could do anything, this shadowy figure attacked Mario, pushing him into the fire. The game then cut to a memorial service held for Mario. Everyone was there, standing around his grave as they lowered his coffin into the ground, and what he didn't see coming though was Luigi poking his head into the shot with an evil grin on his face, giggling loudly through his speakers as the screen faded to black. In at number 8, The Skeleton Family. The protagonist of this story begins by saying that when they were a little kid they loved playing Super Mario 64. Skip ahead to today, and now as an adult they finally had the ability to buy this old game to hit those nostalgic feels. They purchased the game for next to nothing on eBay, and not too long afterwards the mint condition copy arrived at their home. The game seemed to be in good condition, but what was upsetting was the box. It was just a plain cardboard box with the word Mario written on it, kinda crudely too. And when Mario's face appeared though, he was overjoyed because nothing was more fun with that first screen. You remember that first screen where you get to pull Mario's face in every direction? Well, he pulled one of Mario's ears in one direction, but the second that he tried to do it to the other ear, this loud static noise just blared through his speakers. And when he started the game, he went towards the first painting that you jump through, but was shocked to see that the painting was different. Instead of the usual Bob Ohms in the golden frame, it was Luigi hanging from a noose. He tried to shut off his N64, but it wouldn't turn off. The painting then rapidly started to decay until the only thing left was the skeleton of Luigi. In at number 7, The Hack. The following story is about a Super Mario World hack that you can actually still download. The author of this creepypasta really goes into some intense details of the strange things that were happening to him throughout this hacked version, but let's just sum it up for you. Essentially, he's greeted with cryptic messages that threaten him throughout the game, all while playing as this dulled down version of Mario. The game renames the area as well to Dinosaur Land, which kind of makes us wonder whether or not this was supposed to be the story from Bowser's perspective. Either way, nearing the end of this hack, he rides out most of the game on Yoshi with the new text box telling him that there is no escape from this hell. Little did he know that the game wasn't talking to Mario, it was talking to Yoshi. When finally reaching the end of his route, Yoshi just tossed Mario off his back right into like this black void. He seemed to fall forever, and expecting to land in another level, he just waited, but nothing happened. It was just a black screen. Yoshi had killed Mario. In at number 6, Jim died, bro. In yet another story about purchasing a used copy of a video game, the protagonist in this creepypasta tale buys a copy of Mario for the NES at a flea market. The man selling the game seemed upset. He told the boy that this game once belonged to his son Jim before he passed away. Once home, the protagonist begins playing, but is thrown off upon seeing the text above the green pipe that reads, "Welcome to the scary hell place." When Mario went down the pipe, he swears he heard someone say the words, "No hope." The screen then suddenly faded to black, and just like a classic jump scare, the ghostly face of Princess Peach popped onto the screen. He nearly fell out of his chair from the sight of it. When he reset the game and opened up the last save, the name had been changed. Instead of his name, it just read, "Jim died, bro." In at number 5, it's all your fault. Growing up, the protagonist was a big fan of the Super Mario series, and on his birthday he received a package in the mail. Inside was a used copy of the game with a message attached to it that read, "Do not play." Clearly he ignored this and dove in head first. When the game began, the skies were dark and the music was chilling. As he looked around, he noticed a signpost that read, "Dear Mario, come to the castle, I have something to show you, yours truly, Bowser." The game went into a cutscene then of Bowser sitting in his throne with the heads of Luigi and Peach on both sides of him. The camera then cut to Mario's face as he shouted, "You took everything from me." The camera then turned back to Bowser as he said, "Come face me." The two engaged in a battle unlike anything that he had ever seen before, and when Bowser was finally defeated by Mario, Mario stood beside the lava pit staring deeply into it just in case the monster returned. And suddenly a teardrop fell from Mario's face as he said to himself, "It's all your fault," right before he too leaped into the lava. In at number 4, Mario and the Killer. The following story was written by a user who claimed to be a beta tester for Nintendo, and on his very first day, they gave him a game called Mario and the Killer. He thought this couldn't possibly be real, someone must be pranking him, but everyone said no, it's real, and so he began playing to search for any glitches in the game. And on the title screen was Luigi's face, but it would flash randomly back and forth to an image of Mario with his eyes missing. He was greeted by Peach, but there was something sinister about her too. Peach's teeth seemed sharp, like razor sharp, and her eyes felt like they were devoid of any emotion whatsoever. Out of nowhere, a Goomba approached screaming and running straight at Mario, so the beta tester did what you usually do with Goombas and jumped up into the air and squashed the enemy. Although the animation was much more brutal than anything that he had ever seen. The Goomba splattered everywhere with blood splashing onto Mario's blue pants. Right when he did that, the evil Peach cackled like a witch. He turned the camera towards the castle, only to watch it explode and begin crumbling before his eyes. What a nightmare. This next story also involves someone who purchased a used N64 and Super Mario from a garage sale only for their life to be turned upside down by a video game. Stuck to the side of the console was a sticky note that read, "Do not use the console on any TV or device, it will end in doom." Assuming that this was just a scare tactic by some kid who didn't want their parents to sell it, he tore off the note and started up the game. Right away he knew this game was different. Mario's eyes were a black void and he seemed empty of any emotion, almost like he wasn't even happy to be there. Then, when he entered the Bob-omb level, all of the Goomba's eyes were also missing. Terrified of what might happen next, he unplugged the console and went right back to the home where he purchased this cursed game. On his way there though, everyone he passed was wearing a red Mario hat. Starting to feel like he was going crazy, he approached someone to ask what was with all the red hats, but no one would even look him in the eyes. When he finally yelled hey and grabbed someone by the arm, he fell over upon seeing that their eyes were missing. And at that moment he blacked out completely, and when he came to though, he was just sitting on the lawn of where he bought the game in the first place. In at number 2, he's there. One day this gamer had a craving to play some Mario for his N64, although his mom thought that he didn't play games anymore, so had actually tossed out all of his games. In a rage, he went to his local GameStop to purchase a new copy. And obviously this was an older game, so the only choice that he had was to buy a used copy. Although the cashier warned him that he shouldn't play this game, he just kept saying, "He's there, he's there." Ignoring him, he bought the game anyways and continued on his merry way. About an hour later when the game loaded up, something was seriously wrong. Mario's eyes were missing in this one as well, and before he could even play, Mario took control. He began viciously attacking everyone in the game like a zombie, pulling them to shreds and eating their discarded limbs as he went along. The camera then shifted to Bowser's perspective, who was holding Peach tightly in fear as he said, "He's there, he's at the castle doors." Bowser then tossed Peach at Mario as he ran off, and Mario did the same thing to her as everyone else, brutally killing Peach and then sprinting at Bowser shortly after. Bowser was trapped. He had literally nowhere to go, and Mario was foaming at the mouth as he let out the most maniacal laugh you've ever heard. That's when the game just crashed, and the gamer began to feel a sharp pain in his back. He turned to see Mario standing behind him, and a knife sticking out of his back as Mario said, "I told you I'm there." It's a weird story, guys. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Super Mario 666. The following story is based on a creepypasta we discovered on Reddit. The protagonist of the story says that recently a home in their neighborhood had mysteriously been destroyed. The newspaper stated that it was an explosion from a gas leak in the house, but who's to say? Unfortunately, no one in the home survived, but one day a friend of his came rushing over to his house saying that he had found something important. His friend was nearly out of breath from sprinting all the way to his home, and he had found something in the rubble of the home that was destroyed. It was a copy of Super Mario 64, although right where the number 64 should be, in place where the number 666. They immediately put the game into their old N64 and started playing. The boys were greeted with a signpost that read, "King Bob is dead. Now his legion of followers are lost without purpose, they can only do what they know best." That's when they began to hear this ticking noise. As Bob walked onto the screen, its eyes were red. It was staring directly at the two boys. The sound began to pick up speed. Tick, 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 tick. That's when they realized that the game was responsible for that mysterious explosion. They sprinted out of their house only for moments later to have history repeat itself, and now his home as well had erupted with flames. The firefighters sorted through the rubble, but the only thing they found still intact was Super Mario 666. And that has been the top 10 scariest Mario creepypastas. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on this list. Do you like these stories? Do you not like these stories? And if you have your own creepypasta, link that to me. Maybe we'll put it in our next video. Plus, for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is click that playlist on the screen. From Top 10 Gaming, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.